Vincent Price had a huge impact on 20th century horror, becoming synonymous with the macabre and the gothic. He brought a unique blend of elegance and terror to the screen, and his performances helped define the look and feel of the horror genre. In this video, I'll run down my list of the top 10 Vincent Price films that I feel helped define the horror genre as we know it today. With that said, let's get into it. Fantasy, sci-fi, horror, rerun zone. House of Wax, 1953.
I'm going to give the people what they want. Sensation, horror, shock. Send them out in the streets to tell their friends how wonderful it is to be scared to death.
Let's step back into the golden age of horror with House of Wax, where Vincent Price delivers a career-defining performance as the sinister Professor Henry Jared, a master wax sculptor with a dark secret. The story follows Jared after a devastating fire destroys his wax museum, and it leaves him severely injured. Obsessed with recreating his lost masterpieces, he opens a new museum with eerily lifelike figures, but the truth behind their creation is far more macabre than anyone could imagine. Vincent's portrayal of Jared is both charming and chilling as he navigates the thin line between creator and madman. House of Wax was a box office hit, in part due to its 3D effects. Ironically, director Andre D. Toth managed to create one of the most visually engaging horror films of the era despite being blind in one eye. The production made use of actual wax figures from the Hollywood Wax Museum for authenticity. House of Wax not only revitalized interest in horror films, but also established Vincent Price as a horror icon. House on Haunted Hill, 1959.
I was going to ask you whether you wanted to stay or not, but it seems that the caretakers have made the decision for you. We're all locked in now.
William Castle's House on Haunted Hill transformed movie theaters into haunted houses, delivering scares directly to the audience. The film's standout feature was the Emergo effect, where a plastic skeleton flew over moviegoers during a key scene. This innovative gimmick blurred the line between film and reality, enhancing the immersive horror experience. Vincent Price's portrayal of eccentric millionaire Frederick Lauren was a career-defining moment. His performance in House on Haunted Hill solidified his status as a horror icon, showcasing his unique ability to blend charm with menace. Price brought a new dimension to the genre, setting a standard for future horror performances. Castle's approach to horror filmmaking went beyond traditional storytelling, creating an interactive experience that engaged audiences in ways they had never experienced before. House on Haunted Hill became more than just a movie. It was a complete sensory experience that left a lasting impact on the horror genre and audience expectations. The Abominable Dr. Phibes, 1971. In this movie, Vincent Price gives a performance that's both horrifying and hilariously over the top as the main character, Dr. Anton Phibes. This film combines dark comedy, horror, and a love for the theatrical in a unique tale of revenge against the doctors who failed to save his wife. Phibes, an organ-playing, mask-wearing genius presumed dead, methodically kills his victims using plagues inspired by the Old Testament, each death more inventive and grotesque than the last. From frogs to blood, his methods are as much a part of his artistic expression as his silent, film-like demeanor and his love for music. Accompanied by his mute assistant Volnavia, Phibes turns murder into performance art, making each scene visually and acoustically memorable. Price's performance balanced the line between villainy and sympathy, making Phibes an unforgettable character. His elaborate costumes, especially his death mask, contribute to the film's unique aesthetic. The organ music performed by Price himself was a significant element, with him learning to play for authenticity. The Abominable Dr. Phibes revitalized Price's career in horror and also kickstarted a niche for campy comedic horror that celebrated the bizarre. Its blend of camp, gore, and theatricality has ensured its place as a cult classic. Before the next movie, if you like these trips down memory lane, please hit that subscribe button or consider becoming a channel member. It keeps this passion project going strong and means the world to me. Thanks, and now, back to the show. The Pit and the Pendulum, 1961. One of Vincent Price's finest performances, The Pit and the Pendulum is a masterclass in gothic horror, drenched in paranoia, madness, and betrayal. Set in a foreboding Spanish castle, the film follows Francis Bernard as he investigates the suspicious death of his sister Elizabeth. Her husband, Nicholas Medina, played by Price, is tormented by a childhood trauma tied to his father's gruesome work in the Spanish Inquisition, and he's now on the verge of psychological collapse under the weight of guilt and fear. Nicholas believes Elizabeth was buried alive, and that her vengeful spirit now haunts the castle. Strange occurrences, slamming doors, eerie harpsichord music, and a desecrated portrait send him spiraling into madness. But the true horror is far more sinister. Elizabeth and her lover, Dr. Leon, conspire to drive Nicholas insane and claim his fortune. Their cruel game backfires when Nicholas fully embraces insanity, believing himself to be his father. In a chilling climax, he enacts brutal revenge, sealing Elizabeth's fate in a manner as horrifying as her own deception. Price delivers a haunting performance, his descent into madness both tragic and terrifying. With its atmospheric direction by Roger Corman and relentless suspense, The Pit and the Pendulum remains one of Price's most unforgettable films. The Raven, 1963.
What did he say?
He told me to beware.
Of what?
I don't know.
The Raven blends horror and comedy, featuring Vincent Price, Peter Lorre, and Boris Karloff in a whimsical take on Edgar Allan Poe's poem. Directed by Roger Corman, this loose adaptation transforms Poe's work into a tale of sorcery, rivalry, and redemption within a gothic horror setting. Price plays Dr. Erasmus Craven, a melancholic sorcerer visited by a talking raven, his old friend Dr. Bedloe, who's transformed by the wicked Dr. Scarabus. Joined by Craven's daughter and Bedloe's son, played by a young Jack Nicholson in an early role, they set out to confront Scarabus, leading to a magical duel filled with humor, colorful effects, and surprising depth. Unlike Corman's more serious Poe films, The Raven embraces comedy while retaining gothic charm. Shot on leftover Poe film sets, its surreal visual style adds to its whimsical nature. The transformation effects were advanced for the time, bringing the magic to life. The dynamic between Price, Lorre, and Karloff is legendary, their witty banter making the film a standout. The Raven is beloved for its humor, heart, and themes of friendship and revenge, proving that even in dark magic, there's still room for laughter. The Last Man on Earth, 1964.
They're perfect. Just wide enough to keep the flesh apart so their body seal can't function.
The Last Man on Earth features Vincent Price in a haunting portrayal of Dr. Robert Morgan, the lone survivor of a vampire-like plague in this adaptation of Richard Matheson's I Am Legend. This Italian-American production presents a grim vision of post-apocalyptic survival, where psychological torment rivals physical threats. Morgan wanders Rome's empty streets by day, staking the undead and barricading himself in his home by night, haunted by memories of his lost family. The film's eerie silence amplifies his isolation, making it a study in despair as he desperately seeks a cure or other survivors. The first adaptation of Matheson's novel, The Last Man on Earth, remains the most faithful to its themes of loneliness and existential horror. Despite its low budget, it delivers chilling atmosphere and a deeply emotional performance from Price, who captures the fragility of a man on the edge of sanity. More than just another horror film, The Last Man on Earth is a meditation on survival, identity, and what it means to be truly alone. Price's performance elevates it beyond spectacle, making it one of the most poignant and unsettling apocalyptic films ever made. The Masque of the Red Death, 1964.
Mercy. Give us the sanctuary of the castle walls.
Give me an end to your pleading. Go back from whence you came.
We will die.
If you refuse to go, then die here.
This movie is a visually stunning adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe's tale, with Vincent Price delivering a mesmerizing performance as the diabolical Prince Prospero. Directed by Roger Corman, this film explores decadence, morality, and the inevitability of death, all set against a surreal, color-drenched backdrop. Prospero, a hedonist, secludes himself and the elite in his castle to escape the Red Death plague, hosting lavish balls while philosophizing on good and evil. His cruelty is as captivating as the film's opulent Gothic sets. Elements from Poe's Hop Frog weave in themes of revenge and dark comedy, adding depth. Filmed in England, The Masque of the Red Death is one of Corman's most visually striking works, with vivid colors contrasting the Red Plague against Prospero's lavish halls. Its aesthetic influenced horror for years. Jane Asher and Hazel Court shine in supporting roles, with Asher's Francesca representing innocence amidst corruption. Exploring Satanism and moral decay, Price delivers one of his most nuanced performances, balancing villainy with introspective dread. This film elevates horror beyond scares, blending art, philosophy, and terror into a macabre masterpiece. Theater of Blood, 1973.
Present me the award, Gloucester, or you will lose your eyes and have to smell your way through the world.
As Lear said at his greatest moment, never, 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 never.
In Theater of Blood, Vincent Price has one of his most memorable roles, blending Shakespearean drama with gruesome retribution. Directed by Douglas Hickox, this dark comedy horror follows Edward Lionheart, a scorned Shakespearean actor who fakes his death and returns to exact poetic justice on his critics. Lionheart's killings mirror Shakespeare's plays, from a Julius Caesar-style stabbing to a fiery fate inspired by Titus Andronicus. The film's brilliance lies in Price's joyfully theatrical recitations before each murder, making this his favorite role. Diana Rigg co-stars as his devoted daughter, using disguises and deception to aid in his revenge. Though some scenes were trimmed by British censors, it masterfully balances horror and humor, with Price delivering a performance that's both campy and chilling. A love letter to Shakespeare and a satirical jab at critics, Theater of Blood is a macabre celebration of Price's career, offering classic horror fans a wickedly entertaining mix of theatricality, dark humor, and inventive revenge. The Tingler, 1959.
You know, Warren, you've lost contact with living people. Nobody means anything to you anymore, unless they're dead.
The Tingler turns moviegoing into an interactive horror experience, with Vincent Price at the helm in William Castle's most famous gimmick-driven film. Price plays Dr. Warren Chapin, a pathologist who discovers the Tingler, a creature that feeds on fear, growing along the human spine and only stopped by screaming. Castle's legendary marketing tricks made the Tingler unforgettable. Percepto wired select theater seats to vibrate, simulating the creature's movement. In one sequence, the screen goes black, and Price urges the audience to scream to survive. The film's most famous scene, set in a movie theater, was filmed at Hollywood's West Coast Theater, with Castle himself providing eerie voiceovers. The Tingler's design was a mix of practical effects, using a puppet and real lobster claws for its creepy appearance. Yet beneath the gimmicks lies a clever commentary on cinema's ability to evoke fear and the communal experience of watching horror. Price delivers a performance that balances camp and suspense, reinforcing the Tingler as a genre milestone. Its innovative marketing and psychological thrills ensured that 1959 audiences, and horror fans ever since, would never watch without feeling that eerie tingle down their spine. Tales of Terror, 1962. Tales of Terror showcases Vincent Price in 3 chilling Edgar Allan Poe adaptations, blending horror, humor, and gothic atmosphere. Directed by Roger Corman and written by Richard Matheson, this anthology is a classic of 1960s horror cinema. In Morella, Price plays a grieving father haunted by his wife's lingering spirit after his daughter's return. The Black Cat stars Peter Lorre as a drunken Montresor, whose jealousy leads to a grim fate, blending elements of Poe's The Cask of Amontillado. The facts in the case of M. Valdemar sees Price trapped between life and death by a sinister hypnotist played by Basil Rathbone, delivering one of the film's most unsettling moments. Price's versatility shines throughout, from brooding sorrow to macabre humor. The melting face effect in M. Valdemar was created with a mix of glue, glycerin, cornstarch, and paint, so intense that Price could only endure it for a few seconds. Tales of Terror stands as a testament to Price's gothic horror legacy, offering a perfect mix of eerie suspense and dark comedy, making it an essential watch for classic horror fans. Of course, these 10 films are only a small smattering of Vincent Price's vast catalog of film appearances, but I like to think that these are the very best of his works. If you agree or disagree, or if I've missed any of your favorite Vincent Price films, let me know in the comments below. And if you like classic movies, TV, cartoons, and nostalgia, you're going to love it here at Rerun Zone, so make sure to hit that subscribe button on your way out. This is Rich from Rerun Zone wishing you a good night.